It was almost 9 p.m. when I realized I had left my sketchbook in the art room. Everyone else had already left. The corridors were silent, the kind of silence that felt too heavy, like the walls were listening. I knew the school had a creepy reputation after dark, but I didn't believe in ghost stories. Not really. Still, as I walked past the dark classrooms, every creak of my sneakers echoed louder than it should. The janitor was supposed to be on duty, but I hadn't seen him tonight. The entire building felt abandoned. I grabbed my sketchbook quickly and was about to leave when I felt the need to pee. Go figure. The nearest bathroom was down the West Wing hallway, the oldest part of the school. That bathroom was avoided by most students, not because it was dirty or broken, but because of the stories. You know, the usual rumors. A girl who died there years ago, strange whispers in the stalls, lights flickering even when no one's around. But I didn't care. I was tired and wanted to get home. So I went. The hallway stretched like it didn't want to end. The fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly, and one kept flickering as I passed under it. My footsteps slowed as I approached the bathroom door. For a second, I thought I heard someone breathing inside, but when I paused and listened, it stopped. I laughed under my breath. "Don't be stupid," I told myself, pushing the door open. It was dimly lit. Only one bulb above the mirror was working, casting long shadows on the cracked tiles. The air felt colder in there, like I had walked into a refrigerator. I walked past the sinks and pushed open the stall at the end. It creaked like it hadn't been used in a decade. As I was doing my business, I heard it. A soft tapping sound, like fingernails against porcelain. It was faint at first, so I thought it was just the pipes, but it kept getting louder. Tap, 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 like someone was tapping the sink basin with increasing impatience. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. I finished quickly, feeling the skin on the back of my neck tighten. When I stepped out of the stall, the sink was dripping. That was weird. I hadn't touched it. I walked up to it and turned the knob tightly to shut it off. Then I saw it in the mirror. Not a face, not a figure. Just the stall behind me. Open. But I had closed it. I always closed it. I turned around slowly. The stall door was shut. I blinked. The mirror showed it open. I turned again. It was shut. I wasn't breathing. My own reflection wasn't copying me anymore. It stood still, staring back, a twisted smile slowly creeping across its face. And I hadn't even moved. I backed away from the sink, eyes locked with that thing in the mirror. The light above me flickered, and for a split second the reflection wasn't mine at all. It was a girl in a stained uniform, long wet hair hanging over her face. When the light flicked back on, it was just me again. I didn't wait to wash my hands. I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. It was unlocked, but it felt like someone was pulling it shut from the outside. I pulled harder. My hands were shaking. The mirror behind me creaked. I didn't want to look, but something moved. Slowly, deliberately. I looked anyway. The reflection showed a hand, my hand, still resting on the sink. But both of my hands were now on the door. I froze. Then the light bulb above me shattered. The bathroom was plunged into darkness, and I wasn't alone. The darkness wasn't just the absence of light. It felt alive. It pressed against my skin like a damp, heavy sheet, and in that moment, the silence became unbearable. Then came the sound. Not loud, not even sharp, just breathing. Slow, raspy, coming from behind me. I froze. My hand was still clutching the door handle, but I didn't dare turn around. My instinct screamed at me to run, to get out, to do something, but my legs wouldn't move. The breath grew louder, as if whoever, or whatever, was behind me was leaning closer. And then I felt it, a soft exhale against the back of my neck. Cold, too cold. I spun around, heart thudding in my throat, but there was nothing. The bathroom was pitch black, except for a faint red glow coming from the stall at the end. I couldn't explain it. It looked like someone had lit a candle inside, but that made no sense. I hadn't seen anything like that when I came in. I backed away from the door, the metal handle now ice cold in my grip, and took hesitant steps toward the stalls. The red glow flickered slightly, like it was alive. As I got closer, I heard a faint sound, a soft humming, a child's voice. It was out of tune and slow, like a lullaby remembered wrong. I stopped walking. The stall door creaked open slowly. No one pushed it. It just moved, on its own, inch by inch. And then I saw her. A girl, maybe 12 or 13, sitting on the toilet with her head bowed, hair falling forward like a curtain. She was humming. Her fingers tapped rhythmically on her knee. Her school uniform was soaked through, and her shoes, they were missing. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. She stopped humming. The air went completely still. And then, without lifting her head, she whispered, "Why did you lock the door?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat was dry and my tongue felt heavy. The light in the stall suddenly went out. Total darkness again. Then the screaming started. It wasn't loud. It was close. A voice screeching right next to my ear, shrill and broken, like fingernails scraping across metal and glass all at once. I turned and ran toward the door, slamming against it with all my weight. And this time, it swung open. I stumbled out into the hallway, falling hard against the cold floor. The buzzing fluorescent lights flickered above, but they offered no comfort. The hallway wasn't empty. There were wet footprints, bare feet, leading away from the bathroom and deeper into the west wing. I got up slowly. I should have left. I wanted to leave, but something made me follow. Maybe it was shock. Maybe fear had rewired my brain. But I moved, one step at a time, following those footprints. They led to another bathroom, a smaller one we weren't supposed to use. I remembered now. The door had always been locked. No one ever went in, not even the janitor. But the door was open. I stepped inside. The walls were covered in graffiti, most of it old and faded. But one line stood out, written fresh in what looked like red ink, or something worse. She watches from the mirror. And then I saw them. Handprints, tiny, soaked all over the mirror. Some smeared, some perfect, all facing outward, like someone had been trying to get out. Behind me, the door slammed shut again. The mirror fogged up slowly, even though it wasn't warm. A message formed in the condensation. "Don't turn around." I didn't listen. I turned. The girl was standing inches from me. Her face wasn't right. Too pale, lips torn, and her eyes empty, as if someone had scooped the life out of them. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Only water. A thin stream of dark, murky water poured from her mouth and soaked into the floor. She raised her hand and pointed to the sink. In it was my sketchbook. I don't know how it got there. I had taken it from the art room. I had it with me. But there it was, soaking wet, pages torn and stuck together. When I reached for it, her fingers closed around my wrist. Her grip was freezing, strong. Her nails dug into my skin like claws. Then she whispered again, this time louder. You saw me. Now you stay. The lights burst all at once. Shards of glass rained down, and I screamed. My scream echoed through the bathroom like a trapped animal's cry. Her grip tightened, her icy fingers digging deeper into my wrist until I felt my skin begin to tear. I thrashed violently, pulling away, slipping on the wet tiles. I don't know how, but I broke free, stumbling backward and crashing into one of the bathroom stalls. The door swung shut behind me. Silence. It returned all at once, like everything that had just happened was erased in a blink. I stayed inside the stall, holding my breath, my back pressed against the cold wall. My heart was racing so fast, it felt like it would burst. I could still feel the pressure of her hand on my skin. When I looked down at my wrist, faint bruises were already forming, long finger-shaped bruises. I didn't dare move. Then, I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of bare feet walking slowly across the tiles. One step at a time. Closer, closer. The stall door creaked. I held the lock tight. She stopped, right in front of the door, and then, whispering. At first I couldn't make out the words, but as it grew louder, the meaning sank into me like poison. She never left. She never left. She never left. The whisper turned into a chant, a chorus of overlapping voices, all repeating the same phrase. Male, female, old, young, all saying it at once, in perfect unison. It was coming from everywhere. From under the floor, from the sink, from the walls, from inside my head. I slammed my hands over my ears and shouted, "Stop!" And it did. Dead silence again. I opened my eyes. The bathroom stall in front of me now had a mirror on the inside of the door. That wasn't there before. I leaned forward cautiously. My reflection stared back, looking pale and broken. But behind me, in the mirror, I saw her again. The girl. She was hanging from the ceiling like a puppet, suspended by her long black hair tangled into the light fixture. Her head lolled to one side, and her eyes were wide open, mouth gaping. That same endless stream of dark water poured out like a fountain. I turned around quickly, nothing there. But when I looked back into the mirror, she was closer. I didn't blink, didn't move. She inched forward again, only in the mirror. Every time I blinked, she came closer. It was a game. I realized that too late. I shut my eyes for just a second. When I opened them, she was on the other side of the stall door, and this time I saw her hand reach through the mirror, grasping, clawing, stretching through glass, as if it were water. I screamed and burst out of the stall, slamming into the opposite wall. The bathroom lights flickered back on in waves, like a heartbeat, as I ran out of the room and down the hallway, not even looking back. But something followed me. Not footsteps, not a shadow, a presence. It moved beside me, not behind. Like it walked with me in some twisted parallel world I couldn't see, only feel. Every light I passed flickered and burst. Every locker door banged open as I passed. The walls wept black water. The floor beneath me rippled like a shallow pool. I could feel my shoes soaking. The entire school had changed. It wasn't my school anymore. The walls were cracked and rotten. Mold crawled from the ceilings like veins. Lockers were dented and warped, some oozing water or something darker. I kept running. Then suddenly, everything stopped. I found myself back at the front entrance. The big double doors were in front of me, wide open. Outside, the night looked normal. Streetlights, silence, distant traffic. Just another night. I didn't wait. I bolted through the doors, down the steps, and into the street without once looking back. It wasn't until I reached the front gate and caught my breath that I finally turned. The school stood still, no lights, no sound, except the bathroom window on the second floor. She was there, standing behind the glass, watching me, smiling, holding my soaked sketchbook against the window like a trophy. And I swear to God, it was still dripping